Well, you know what it is. It's Friday, and it's time for another episode of the About Mansfield Consumer Advice Series. It's time for another 10-minute nugget of information. So if you're at work right now, take your coffee break, because we'll let you know when it's time to go back to work. It is Friday, and it is time to bring in right over there Phillip Washington Jr. Say hello to the Mansfieldians.
How's it going, Mansfieldians? You know what, Steve? I realized we are like matching shirts.
Oh, we are.
Sort of colors.
Didn't even notice that.
I just noticed it when it came on camera.
Okay. Today we're continuing your series on Mind Over Money, Rewiring Your Financial Attitude. This would be episode number 7 of this. And should we jump right into it?
Let's do it.
All right. So these are common excuses, if you will, on why people don't dig a little deeper into their financial situation. And so let's start with the next one. I don't have the discipline to stick to a financial plan.
Yes, discipline is required when you're doing something you don't want to do. And I'm of the opinion that you should never do anything that you don't want to do, because that requires way too much energy, right? I like to use the example of I'll do a different example from the podcast, right? Like working out for me, and this is just me specifically. I'm a runner, and I like to run, and I run in my neighborhood quite a bit, maybe 4 to 5 miles, 4 to 5 times a week, really 5 to 6 times a week. And sometimes people will go, man, that seems like a lot.
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, it would be if it wasn't such a benefit. Meaning, like, for me, running is less about like enforcing some physical discipline for the physical aspect, but running for me is like mental clarity, right? Like if I need clarity, or I'm getting stuck in my head or something like that, like running like clears me out, and it is a benefit. Like I'd like zone out and forget that I'm running, and so I don't need discipline to go run, because it is mental clarity, right?
Sure.
And the way I built to 5 miles was I didn't start at 5 miles. I would just run to where it wasn't hard, right? And then I just run and it wasn't hard, and then I would feel good every time I do it, and then I would get more clarity, and then I was like, oh man, this is super clear. So 1 mile turned into 2 turned to 3, right? 3 turned to 4 or 5, right? I don't have any desire to go to 10, because I can get everything I need in 5,
no.
right? But yeah.
I'm still waiting to start. But all right, so that's how you attack your financial plan.
And that's how you attack your financial plan. Yeah, you
start with 1 mile, work up to 2 miles, work up to 4 miles, and stop at 5.
Right, yeah. And if you just run 5 miles, you get rich. Just run 5 miles a day, and you don't even have to think about it. No, but for real, yeah, you hit on the point. It's like find something about your finances that you like to do, or like to think about, even if it's just dreaming of what you want, and just like practice that, and then that good feeling will lead you to the next good feeling, thought, and action, right? And then over time, you'll look up and you'll have a complete estate planning with trusts and wills and millions of dollars in your brokerage account and properties. But like if you think about like trying to do all that stuff now, it becomes overwhelming, right? So just build it brick by brick, incrementally in your mind, and then it'll work.
One brick leads to an entire wall.
Absolutely.
Look, China did that.
And never mind. I'm not going to go.
The next one. I don't want to give up my vices or indulgences.
Oh man, this is a good one, because I'm a believer of vices. I love having vices, right? What's the point of being human if you don't have vices? Like, I'm for real. Like, if I had to choose between, I saw this Instagram video, and it was a girl going to the grocery store, and everything she picked up to eat, she would reference to a video of some other creator on Instagram saying, don't eat this, it's whatever. It was like everything. It was like they had a problem with bananas, a problem with like asparagus, a problem with meat, a problem with almond milk.
I saw the other day that there's a problem with Cheerios.
Right, yeah.
It's
It's too much wokeness, right? There's just a problem with humans, right? If you want to technically think about it, there's just a problem with everything.
Everything's
right?
bad for you.
Yeah, right. So like, but my point is like, pure energy is no problem, but that's invisible. Like when you add resistance to it, you get humans, right? So you need balance to enjoy the human experience. And so from my perspective, vices are good because what's the point of being human if you're not going to eat stuff that's bad for you, right? Like just eat it in moderation. And so like, I feel like with vices around like your finances is like have stuff that you do that you're quote unquote not supposed to spend your money. That's irresponsible relative to society. But if you do it within the context of your budget, you're good. Just make sure like your entire budget's not a vice. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah,
like
going out for chicken nuggets for breakfast.
right? Just
Do it once in a while.
Once in a while. I mean, look at Warren Buffett. He drinks cherry Coke, like nothing but cherry Coke. That's what he drinks all the time, every day. And some people might be like, "Oh, Warren Buffett, like you spend money on a cherry Coke and eat a hamburgers, eating out every single day. How you gonna?" He's a billionaire, and he's not dead. Like he's 90 something. He has his vices and he spends his money and eats irresponsibly on the few things that he does. But he doesn't like gorge out all day on cherry Coke and hamburgers.
In moderation.
In moderation.
The next one and the final one. I'm waiting for an inheritance or a windfall to change my situation. Now, to me, that just says, stop it. But I'm not the expert here. Just stop waiting for the inheritance because inheritances don't always come.
And then that kind of creepy, that was a judgmental comment. So let me think of a different way to say that. I'm just gonna say it. That just that just sounds creepy to like wait for an inheritance. I mean, I'm waiting for mom and dad to die,
right?
So I can, that maybe if you don't say it out loud.
Okay, but what if mom and dad, or what if mom or dad come down with a medical situation where they need to spend your inheritance to get over it?
Exactly, right? And if that's your deep desire, then there's like a conflict, right? Because like you're gonna feel guilt and resentment and all that kind of stuff. So my deal is like energetically, so we don't continue to judge people,
right?
Who think of that. Like when you are thinking of somebody else outside of yourself saving you, then you become a slave to conditions, right? You need this condition, an inheritance or some windfall to come to save you, which is like the wrong energy to think through. You think, no, like everything that I need is inside of me, right? Whether it's the ideas, whether it's the attitude that attracts lack, like it's inside of me, right? I am satisfied with what I've been able to build so far, and I'm excited about what I'm going to build, but I don't need some specific condition to save me, to bail me out of this, because that's just the wrong way to think about it. It puts you in a position where whenever, like, I'm trying to say something different than what I said on my podcast, but it's just the same way that your parents would feel if you were relying on their inheritance to get yourself financially ready. Like a natural response to a financially responsible parent is going to be like, I'm not giving it to you then. Like, I don't want to give my kids an inheritance if they need it. I want to give it to them if they don't need it. And I mean, I think energetically, that's the same thing. You fight against yourself. You fight against your own interest when you need a windfall to save you versus saying, no, like, I'm good and I'm always getting better. And when you align in the right emotion, which is when I say energy, then on accident, like, you might luck up and get in, or you make your parents want to leave their money to you because they know you won't be a screw up with the money.
So stop waiting for someone else's bank. when it comes. All right, so going back to that statement, I'm waiting for an inheritance or a windfall. And I maybe this is why people go to Las Vegas, or again, waiting for that windfall. That if I just pull that handle one more time.
Yeah.
I guess slot machines don't have handles anymore, but
they don't. Yeah, that's right. They don't. Right. Yeah.
You push the button.
It's like desperate energy, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm looking for the words to say. It's desperate energy and desperate. I remember, like, have you ever? And I'm gonna wrap it up on this, but if you ever sold something, I remember like when I would be in a sales situation where I was desperate for money because I was 100% commission sales, and I was thinking the whole time about how I was gonna like pay my rent, which I didn't know how, and it's due in 2 days, right? I mean, I lost the majority of those sales because I came off super desperate versus when I walked into a meeting with a bunch of money in the bank, like those sales were easy.
Oh, you own the room.
Yeah, and I would be saying the same thing,
Yeah.
but just my emotional attitude was way different, and I think that's what I'm trying to say.
The 10-minute coffee break is up. It's time for you to go back to work. And if someone wanted to reach out to Phillip Washington Jr. for some emotional support or financial information, how can they reach Phillip Washington Jr.?
Best way is wealthbuildingmadesimple.us, or if you're looking for wealth management, financial planning, stonehillwealthmanagement.com.
stonehillwealthmanagement.com, or you can listen to his podcast, Wealth Building Made Simple. And again, that website address, wealthbuildingmadesimple.us. We do this every Friday. It's another 10-minute nugget of information. Phillip, have a great weekend, and let's do it again next week.
You too, Steve. Thanks.